As we go into this 100th year, I really want for us to not forget who we are, not forget where we came from. I want us to maintain that family feel, that small company feel, but know that we're servicing some of the largest food companies in the world. You can do that here in Sycamore, Illinois, within this community, and you can knock it out of the park with them.
Suter Company was founded in 1925 by my grandpa, Charles Suter. He had served in France during World War I and tried a few different things before he decided to start the company. He always had this dream to have a farm. And so when he finally started his first farm, he named the business At Last a Farm, which is quite simply, at last, he had a farm. The very first evidence that we have that the company existed was in March of 1925, was an ad in the newspaper, and the business was chicken and eggs at the time. So they did slaughtering, and they sold meat and eggs, primarily to restaurants, but also to retailers all around northern Illinois. And that was how the business got started. It was very small, and it struggled, had to survive through the Great Depression and World War II. But really the first key decision that started the evolution of the company was when they decided to get out of slaughtering and into packing food in glass and eventually in cans.
My name is George Suter, and I'm the second generation of the Suter Company. My dad and his brother started the business when they came home from World War I. I've been around the company as a kid from the time I could walk. So it was an eviscerating plant. So somebody had to clean up, which was my job. Blood and feathers and shoveling it into a barrel.
We used to have a company dog named Rags, and Rags' job was to chase down the chickens whenever they would get away and bring them back.
And if one got away and got in the weeds, Rags would go get it and bring it back. He was a mutt. I mean, the hair was down over his eyes, and, he's just a dog. Got out of the Army in 1958, and I started full-time working for Dad. And my brother got out of the Air Force the same year, and we both went to work for Dad. Well, my brother did the marketing, and so I was working in the plant. And it was called MBWA, Management by Wandering Around. I was rarely in the office. I was out in the plant checking on what's going on. We had huge vats in which we cooked chickens and then deboned the meat and canned the meat and sold canned boned chickens through a series of wholesalers.
I love thinking about my grandpa because he was an excellent business person. He thought about the future. He knew that the original version of the company, being a slaughter operation, probably wasn't going to sustain into the future. And those early changes in the 1940s and 50s as we got out of slaughtering and into packing foods primarily in cans really is what set the company on a course to still be around today. And of course, we still have a canning operation today.
My dad's core value was hard work and honesty. There was a black market at the time, and he refused to participate in the black market. He closed the place.
The federal government implemented a price freeze below the cost of production on poultry, that it created a black market. And the only opportunity to buy poultry at that time was to do it illegally. And he was unwilling to do that. And so he actually closed the company for a few months. And what he was willing to do for the company and what he wasn't willing to do really still stands today as part of the way we guide how we do business.
In the 1960s, we were involved in canned salads. We were producing chicken salad, ham salad, egg salad, tuna salad. So that was the key to the whole thing. We were the only one doing that. Quality was never an issue. It was just something we always had. But the only way to survive was to produce a quality product. My sons were around the place often as they were growing up. I had them do some work once in a while.
I unofficially started working for the Suter Company when I was in middle school. I was in 8th grade, and my dad decided it was time for me to start working. So he put me to work in the warehouse as part of the labeling crew. And then I proceeded to work summers throughout middle school, high school, and college.
Every summer I'd work in the warehouse, and the role was to pack boxes and unload retort baskets and load trucks, unload trucks. I was way down on the totem pole. The summers were always a busy time, so they needed extra help. So a handful of temporary employees were employed over the summer. A lot of them were kids.
My name is Gene Chesser, and I started with the Suter Company in 1980. I started when I was 16 years old through a school work program, working like 6.5-hour days through the summer. It was not my plan. I was just going to work one summer, and here I am 44 summers later, and really happy to be here. When I started here, we were putting large cans in boxes. We did all that by hand, sweeping the floors, cleaning garbage barrels. Then we cooked and deboned chicken.
My name is Tangela Beaumont Clark, and I started at the Suter Company March 18th, 1988. I was 17 when I started working at the Suter Company. I was working on the job program part-time while I was attending Sycamore High School. My mother also used to work here. She's the one that got me the job.
So refrigerated products started in the mid-'80s, I think 1984, and I remember, the very first batch of that product being made. It was kind of a natural evolution to our canned entree salads, and it's grown to what it is now. I remember when, we make like 5,000 pounds in a day, and that was an amazing day. Now, if we don't have 5,000 pounds made in one cooler by first break, we're wondering what's going wrong or why we haven't got it done.
So in 1983 or 4, my brother and I were at war. He wanted to go this way and do pouches. It's extremely difficult to produce pouches, to control the seal and the quality in a pouch. And a pouch doesn't sit still like a can does. So filling them is extremely difficult. So I didn't want to get involved in pouches, and he wanted to. Well, the board of directors said we were fighting so much that one of you has to buy out the other, period. And so I bought out my brother, and that opened the door for Tim and Danny to get involved. I couldn't wait for them to get out of school and take over. I phased out gradually. It's kind of like General MacArthur said about soldiers, they fade away. So I just kind of faded away as they took over. Tim was selling Cutco knives, and Danny was selling spices downtown Chicago to the restaurants. We were driving out to Colorado to go skiing, and all of a sudden the two of them said, "We want to come into the business." What? He decided that the old man's business wasn't that bad.
In 1990, my dad was anxious to either sell the business or have Tim and I start working. I worked in sales starting in 1990. I was just on the road all the time. One year I logged 250 nights in a hotel room, and just sales, marketing, product development, that was all I did.
When I started for the Suter Company full-time in the summer of 1990, my first job was as a regional sales manager. My job was to drive around a 6 or 7 state region and call on customers and work food shows. And I give my dad a lot of credit for making me do that job, because I really got to understand the marketplace and our customers and what they needed from us. After those 2 years as a regional sales manager, my dad moved me around to different roles in quality and marketing and operations. And then when he retired at the end of 1998, I became president and CEO at the start of 1999.
The unique opportunity that I had to see how Tim shaped the company that's here today is he's my brother. We're very close. So I got to see what was going through his mind. And the thing that strikes me is that there was always an intention. There was a plan.
And eventually we made a decision to do an ESOP, which was to sell the company to the employees.
Being an employee-owned company shows that the company cares about their employees.
In my opinion, the ESOP was the greatest thing that the company has ever done for its employees. The financial aspect of it is wonderful, and I really do appreciate that, but knowing who the next owner is, who the next generation is, putting that to rest, for me personally, has been just a big weight off your shoulders. You don't have to think about that anymore, and that's a really, really big deal.
Being 100% employee-owned is unique, even for an ESOP. Understanding how they can help the company and benefit personally by it will motivate all of our employees to continue growing and adding to the success of the company.
All those summers working in the company and then working for my dad really gave me an opportunity to see what leadership should look like. He was present in the plant every day. He knew exactly what was going on. He understood who people were. He knew their names. He knew their families. He really instilled in me the values that we carry forward today when we talk about our core value of respect.
One of my favorite stories is this involved Tim's dad, George. He was running through the plant just happy as could be, just shaking everybody's hand. We had our first $1 million month. $1 million month. And George was over the moon with that and so excited. And he wanted to make sure that all the employees knew how great that was. And so I just so much appreciate George making sure everybody took part of that excitement. It wasn't just something that he internalized with himself. So it was awesome.
As we enter our 100th year, I hope the next generation will continue the values that was integrated by our founders, because it's something that they put in place that has always been our guiding compass.
And Tim took all of that a big step further in terms of business on a mission, where it's a part of the community, not just the local community in DeKalb County, but the whole world, and with something like Feed My Starving Children. Fundamentally, he's put together the whole puzzle. Like, what does it mean to be business, an enterprise that really makes a difference and contributes? What I hope for the Suter Company as we celebrate the 100 years and then go beyond the 100-year mark would be that the Suter Company is always a great place to work for the employees, because everybody spends so much time at work that it's got to be more than just a paycheck.
Now we can celebrate 100 years of business because Tim has done such a fantastic job with the company.
I think about where we're at today. It's pretty emotional, and it's pretty amazing that we're here to celebrate 100 years.
As we continue to embark on our next century and beyond, we know there are exciting days ahead. Days of growth, days of innovation, days of supporting our customers' success now and into the future. We are committed to continuing to operate with a clear focus on our core values, missions, and vision every day. We'll continue to honor our strong, rich history established by the Suter family while delivering the innovative, customer-focused solutions, community commitment, and continuous improvement that has always been at the core of who we are.